Welcome everybody, I am Bridget Nzeku. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this roundtable. And this is why the talent skills problem needs a new approach. And joining me to discuss this very topical issue is Amitabh Apte, who is VP Global CIO at Mars. We have Sarah Mubashir, Head of Business Analysis and Change at the London Business School. And last but not least, we have Kieran Higgins, Head of Digital Workplace Transformation at Cisco. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's get straight into it. So, do you agree that we are in a talent crunch, or is the skill shortage more nuanced than that? What's your view? Sarah, from the London Business School's perspective.
I think, yes, there is skill shortage, but I think we are not looking enough, and I think we are not, I understand there are apprenticeship levies available, we are bringing in apprenticeships, but then some people feel that if you look a little bit deeper, they feel that there are barriers for them, especially when you look into it and you see that, oh, I need to have maths and English done in this country to be able to come and even apply for that apprenticeship. So we have created that barrier right there. And the other thing that I think is, which I feel strongly about, is that when we talk about the talent, we talk about people who have digital skills, logical skills, people who are intelligent, and people who fit into the mold that the organization really wants to see. But what about the neurodiverse people? What about the mothers who are looking to coming into work and they are smart, super smart people, but they know they cannot do the 9-to-5 thing. They can do lots of stuff that they can offer. Are we becoming, the organizations becoming the social anchor where you are getting in and engaging with the local communities to find that kind of talent? Are we doing enough? And then creating the organization mold to fit and create the digital and physical accommodating and happily accommodating the people.
I think that brings us really nicely onto this idea of how in your organisations, and then extrapolating out from that across industries and the wider economy, how you are retaining or retraining in order to fix this conundrum that many organisations face.
I think the approach which we have taken is that of an ecosystem. So we don't live in isolation. Our companies don't live in a bubble, right? I mean, we are always interacting with partners and third parties. So coming back to Mars, we are also manufacturing our own goods. So we have to work with the supply chain partners. So raw materials, finished goods, and so on and so forth. There's a whole partnership model. We work with customers, the retailers, the direct online customers, and so on. So that's the ecosystem. If you come closer to home, from a tech perspective, we work with tier 1, tier 2 partners, probably a dozen of them. So that's the ecosystem. So that brings you the scale. We have to make sure that fits that cultural identity and that paradigm. Because there is a reason why, Mars is one of the largest family-owned businesses, and the reason why it's gotten the point in terms of scale and size. So you have to make sure that you are going towards that speed and different sets of diverse views, but take your people with you. So I think that's a sliding scale. So what we are doing is a number of approaches we are implementing. There's apprenticeships, as you mentioned, is very key. But I think the biggest trick which we cannot miss is our existing talent pool. And the people who know our processes, how the business gets done, and if you empower them with new tools, then they go places. And that's what you actually want to bring. So that's the sort of thing which works. But I think coming back again, this is not just a problem for you to face as an individual, as one company, but you have to tap into the ecosystem. And we find that ecosystem and the mutual beneficial approach of doing that, where everyone wins, I think that is the sort of a answer we are getting to.
Very interesting that you identify these two pools of talent, the people coming into Mars or Cisco or London Business School, and your existing talent. And actually there's been quite a government push, hasn't there, to bring older workers back into the workforce. In terms of those who have had a career in your organisation for some time, what new skills are they training in? What are they developing so that they can give you another 10, 20 or more years where they're fulfilled and it's it's dealing with the business challenges and opportunities you have. Can I come to you, Sarah?
I think for us, we have, and obviously under our CDIO's leadership, we have created a time in everybody's calendar for you to learn. And if I go, I started industry 15, 20 years ago, don't guess my age. And yes, it was IT and, it was all of that. And cybersecurity or, these things would sit with a certain team. But now we are talking about the people who have been here, it was never their interest, but now everybody needs to know about cybersecurity, your digital skills, and all of these things. But I think it's like a group, it's like a new community that we are forming to say, yes, we are all learning. This is my learning time, and not feeling and then sharing and being that vulnerable to say, I never knew that, but now I'm learning it.
I'd like to open up questions from the audience. If there are any, and we'll continue if not. But would anyone like to put a question to any of our panelists? Yes. And could you tell us your name and your organisation?
Sure. My name is Roy Dockery. I'm from a company called Flock Safety. How are your organizations strategically investing in training? I actually don't think we have a talent gap. I've been saying it for the last 7 years and haven't had a problem hiring people for almost a decade. We have an experience gap. And so if anyone uses the military as an example, they never run out of airplane pilots and they all hire high school students. So there's a way that we can progress that. So how are you seeing differences in how we're training people or how you're looking to train people in the future so that you can bring in those different generations of talent?
Kieran, could you ask that first?
I think for Cisco, we're probably starting earlier in that traditionally we would have done the milk round, graduate talent harvesting, if you want to call it that, right? Now I think the straight out of school apprenticeships we're seeing a benefit in that you put somebody through a degree apprenticeship for 3 years and you bring in a graduate after those 3 years and compare them side by side. They're so far ahead. Now they've worked probably a little bit harder maybe than I don't know, maybe they haven't, right? But it feels like they have a lot more experience at that point. And if we have a crunch and we go a little bit further back and say, all right, come and be a part of what we do, work with us and learn at the same time. I think it, to your point of the military and the teenagers, I think it's probably a learning we've had that is a benefit.
We're seeing places like Lisbon and Barcelona, huge investment from the public sector in education to drive skills there, and we're seeing all sorts of organisations, many of your rivals, Nestle, Danone, etc., going into those markets. Do you feel we're falling behind in other economies of not taking that approach?
I think, Mark, this is about we having the clarity as an org to know what we want. If we go for a generic, I want digital talent, well, what does that mean? Whereas if you're specific, saying, actually, I want to bring in a digital marketing, D2C, consumer, then there are hubs actually available, yes. But I think that clarity is missing sometimes.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's close on our final question, which is looking ahead, looking at the economic landscape, the technological landscape, thinking about your own organisations and the sectors you're in. What are the key skills you think you're going to be investing in the future?
I think security will still be there. I think software development will be less so because I think artificial intelligence will help us a lot with that. And I think AI itself and having skills in that will be key.
Mm-hmm. Amitabh?
I think, look, the obvious answers are the AI, the cybers, and all sorts of things we talked about. And probably there are more qualified people here to talk about it. But I'll go back to my soft skills because those are the skills for life.
Yeah.
If you don't sort out the UC and agility, these are just tech tools. So that's what I'll focus on. Absolutely.
Thank you all very much. And can we have a round of applause for our panel? Thank you.
Thank you.